सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Yeah. If I'm hungry, knowledge of food cannot appease my hunger. There is food somewhere, it won't appease your hunger. If you are hungry, you have to take food. But if you are having the keys in our pocket and searching everywhere, if you are having the keys in our pocket and searching everywhere, it is not work that can solve the problem. It is knowledge. What is the difference? For something finite, you need finite solutions. For something which is infinite, which is there everywhere, you do not know that. You only have to know it is there. In Sanskrit, do not get obsessed with Sanskrit terminology. Do not get worried if you do not know. Do not get worried if you cannot understand. But just also don't shut your mind up to listen, because a few times listening, you will become familiar. So, the Sanskrit terminology for what I have said up to now is aparam chet praptavyam, param chet gnatavyam. Aparam, if it is finite, it has to be acquired. Param, if it is infinite, supreme, it has to be known. Right? All our worldly problems, you have to do something. Hunger, you have to eat. Right? No electricity, you have to do something to get light. But for what you have, you are searching, not knowing. Knowledge is the only solution. Finite is not here right now, so you have to get it. Infinite is there everywhere. Therefore, you only have to know. Whatever we are searching, unconsciously, is the infinite. But we have no knowledge of the infinite. We think that the finite can give us completeness. How can it give you? It's finite. How can it give you completeness? That is why wherever anybody is, however big he is, he may be big in 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension, like he may be great scientist, also an artist and a rich man. But he may not be a poet. If he is even that, he is not a dancer. If even that, he is not a good cook. So therefore, through finite things, you cannot get completeness. As long as you do not get completeness, mind cannot keep quiet till it finds fulfillment. Because mind is nothing but consciousness turned outside. It moves from place to place. Right now, you wanted to do something. When you are actually on that, the mind has shifted its attention to something else because it's not satisfied with what it has got or what it is doing. There is never a time when, while you are enjoying, while you are doing something, the mind is not looking ahead, mostly. And all the time looking ahead, you miss the present. The happiness that you want is in the present. By your own volition, you shift the attention of the mind from the present to the future. What's all this means? There is some confusion, lack of knowledge. Mainly, we are confused with our own being. Many people say, very common, the moment you talk to them, especially if they know that you are a Gita student, they will start saying, my mind is restless, I am not able to control it. Have you heard this sentence, what they said? My mind is restless. I am not able to control them. Right? Therefore, they clearly know mind is different from them. When they say, my mind is restless, I am not able to control it, they clearly know that mind is different from that. Then next question you have to ask, who is this me? Who is this me? My body is paining. Your body is paining. My intellect is dull. Your intellect is dull. But you are neither the body, nor the mind, nor the intellect. Because you say my body, my mind, my intellect. You are using these words every day. My body, my mind, my intellect. Then why it never occurred to you to ask, if I say my body, my mind, my intellect, who am I? Why didn't it occur to you? Because you have not started thinking originally. You are living by imitations and impulses. Somebody thinks life is all about possessions, gaining money, cars, houses, wives. So you also follow that. Get married, get a child, get the best school admission, then IIT, job, routine things. You never question whether all these routine things can give me completeness, can make my mind peaceful, beautiful, happy. You never question. Nobody at whatever state, through his possessions or acquisitions or experiences of the finite world, can come to completeness, and without that, the mind cannot rest. Then what to do? First, you have to know your ID, sir. How can any decent man discuss with somebody who has no ID of himself? A person, only a lunatic, will not have an ID of himself. You are saying, my body, my mind, my intellect. Who are you, sir? One. Two. Is there a problem that does not belong to the body, mind, or intellect? Please give me one sample only. A problem that does not belong to the body, mind, or intellect. You won't find. All problems belong to the body, belong to the mind, belong to the intellect. You don't have any problem. Therefore, you don't have any problem. So what you have to do? All that you have to do is, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm different. Who is this I? Who is this I? When somebody is dead, the body is still there. You do not think the body is the person, then you won't weep. If you think the mind and intellect in dream, in sleep, the mind intellect is not functioning. They don't bury you. You still are living. Who are you? Without the body, I can exist because I went out of the body. Without the mind intellect, like in sleep, I can exist. Without me, the body decomposes, the mind intellect cannot function. This is me, who makes the body work, who makes the mind intellect emote and think. After saying this much, you can easily feel the presence of that life in you. Still, it is difficult. I tell you one clue. You cannot say this is impossible. You say, my mind is agitated. Watch the mind. Nothing. Don't do anything. Don't quieten it. Don't do anything. Just watch the mind. And feel the one who is watching it. The one who is watching has to be different from what is watched. What is watched is object. The one who watches is the subject. Objects are many. Objects change. Subject is one. Subject doesn't change. That is you, the real you, who lives, who exists. And in sleep, when you are not conscious of the body, mind, intellect, you are blissful. So who are you? I exist. I am aware. I am blissful. That is you. What have we to do for somebody, for security, who always exists, who is always blissful, who is complete? What you have to do for him? Absolutely nothing. He has to detach himself from the confusion that is the body, mind, intellect, into which Arjuna fell. Arjuna thought all those people whom he is seeing are all the bodies. Therefore, he saw death everywhere. Krishna has to teach him the knowledge of the self, the knowledge of the being, and tells him, you are not the body. You are that self which never changed. It was there, it watched, it remembers the changes in the body, the change in the childhood, youth, old age, the same that which was there when the body is changed, like the childhood body is different from the youth body is different from the old age body. When it no more can serve it, it changes itself to another body. That is you. That is you. There's nothing here to feel sad. You need a change. And when that much is said, that you experience the changes, therefore you remember, and that one who remembers the childhood, youth, old age is you. There is no death for you. Then the next question is, it's okay, but still death is not the only cause for sorrow. Parting is also cause for sorrow. Then Krishna says, the parting is sorrow because you are in touch with that situation. That's also nothing wrong. You have given it a personal value apart from the value that it has. Death is a fact, but you made it good or bad. That's your creation. There are two creations: creation of God, creation of the individual. God created death, but you created it good or bad. Death itself, you cannot say good or bad. Whenever enemy dies, you are happy. That's your mind. So all your sorrows belong to this mind, who has its own individualistic likes and dislikes. And since the whole world is constantly in a procession, the joy that comes to you can never stay. So is the sorrow that comes to you can never stay. They are needed for you for your own growth. They have to come in procession for you to go through them and to go beyond them. To go through them and to go beyond them. This life is meant for that. So you have to understand your own mind. It's never the same. It needs diversity. And therefore, it brings various experiences. I observe, I allow them to pass. I keep my identity with me. At all times, I say, this is me, that is not me. And then you are conscious of the real you are conscious of that pseudo entity, the so-called false entity who says, I am body, I am mind, I am intellect. This knowledge, when you have, you are liberated from the harassment of your mind. This is called mukti, moksha. Moksha is freedom from your own mind. Moksha is freedom from your own mind. So having freed from the mind, you discover you are different from the mind and you are immortal, blissful, knowledgeable, wise, Satchidananda. Now, I said this. I also give you a technique which you cooperate with me. In 1 minute, you can know who are you. How? I just said, watch the mind and see who is watching. Close your eyes, watch the mind, see who is watching. That is you. That is the consciousness. That's called God. That's blissful. It takes less than 1 minute. That is liberation. Hmm? It just takes 1 minute, less than 1 minute. Experience. It's not mere theory. But even after my giving you the clue, you are not able to do it. Why? You are not able to come out of your own prejudices, likes and dislikes, your own obsessions. So therefore, the need is, though the knowledge is given, it is full and complete. You have to tune the instruments to be able to feel this self in themselves when it's pointed out. You have to do that. That process is called yoga. You have to prepare the instruments. The way to prepare the instruments is through your day-to-day activities. When the day-to-day activities are turned towards this goal of purifying the instruments and make them aware of this consciousness, is called karma yoga. The process through which you try to detach from your emotions and turn that love towards God is called bhakti yoga. The process with which you are entangled into the world, trying to know various unwanted things, knowledge is gathering, turn it towards knowing your own self. That's called jnana yoga. Through these three yogas, you can purify the mind intellect, make it subtle, tune towards the self, experiencing. Okay, I will do that. Therefore, what I am going to do is, this business I am doing is all useless. Corruption. I don't want business. I will leave business. Right? Then what? I will take to service. Lot of my friends abroad, doctors, they don't want to come to India because they find the ethical standards of the professionals here is not conducive to them. So you will leave that. I will go to an ashram. Do you know there are more politics in an ashram than in your own house? So leaving things, running off, will not help. What to do? Don't leave this, don't leave that. Your job is to cleanse your mind. If you have to cleanse your mind, you have to choose a field. You have to choose a field for the mind to get occupied and brings out all the dirt in it, likes and dislikes, prejudices. So you have to identify your mind. What are its inclinations? Does it want to be a businessman? Does it want to be a serviceman? Does it want to be a teacher? Does it want to uh, protect? Identify that. And then choose the field. There, instead of working for personal egoistic fulfillment, work for the welfare of others. Then what happens is, when you work for yourself, these impressions called likes and dislikes multiply. When you work for a noble cause, other than the egoistic desire, the existing dirt in you comes out. They are called vasanas. The new vasanas are not picked up because you are disinterested in the results. Your happiness is in serving. There is no egoistic desire. So you don't pick up the vasanas. The existing vasanas are dropped. This is called karma yoga, the basis of which is to first know your swadharma. What is your inclination? This is called swadharma, personal call of nature. Whether you are a Brahmana, you would like to teach. Whether you are a Kshatriya, you would like to protect. Whether you are a Vaisya, you would like to produce. Whether you are a Sudra, you would like to serve. None are inferior or superior. You choose what you want. That's called Swadharma. So Krishna advises Arjuna, your Swadharma, both by birth and inclination, is to fight injustice, establish justice. That's your Swadharma. So you can't leave this war. If you can't leave this war, how to do it? Do it for the sake of fighting the war to remove the evil, not for your personal success. Results are not important. Purification of this mind, bringing out the prejudices are important. So he says, Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsasi. Making all the opposites tune to that sama, that what is equal. Going beyond the opposites, personal likes and dislikes. Tuning to the cause and working, knowing that the work is important, not the results. Swamiji says beautifully, what you get out of work is not important. What you become out of work is important. What you get out of work is not important. What you become out of work is important. This is called Karma Yoga, which he started at 38 and said in 39 that there are two ways. One is Buddhi, Yoga Buddhi, other is Sankhya Buddhi. Yoga Buddhi, Karma Yoga. Sankhya Buddhi, through knowledge. There are two ways, right? Two ways are there because people are different in their temperaments. For a one who has got lot of attachment, who has no subtlety to listen, to contemplate, he has to first take to Karma Yoga to make the instrument subtle. Then he becomes fit for contemplation. So therefore, there are two paths. Yoga Buddhi and Sankhya Buddhi. He said, this I had told you up to now. One who follows this, what I have taught, will get freed from all his subconscious mind, unconscious mind, and comes out of the clutches of his own mind. This is called moksha. Moksha is not a post-mortem state. Moksha is freedom from your own mind. Your mind is holding you hostage. Your mind is holding you hostage. Come out of it. That's called freedom. The way to come out of it is through Karma Yoga. Basis of that is to discover your Swadharma. He has said that now Krishna is trying to promote his product, this Karma Yoga. You will find he uses all modern technology of advertisement. I will be reading them. I used to see in the TVs in those days how they used to sell different soap powders. Same technique he is going to adopt. Why he has to market? Because Arjuna wants to run away from the field of work. So Krishna wants to tell him, it's not bad, it's glorious. And before I go, I had to tell you two things. Purification of the mind, I told you, is through Karma Yoga. In the olden days, Karma Yoga is rituals. Through rituals, you used to purify. As days grew, population grew. Therefore, material life takes all your attention. You are not in a mood or in a comfort to do the rituals. So the principle being the same, Sri Veda Vyasa makes it applicable to all in the day-to-day life. You don't have to change the karma rituals. Whatever karma you are doing, do it with a right attitude. That is for the service of others, because the others are none but the expression of the God that is in me. In other words, I am not confined to this body alone. I extend everywhere till I identify with all. I feel limited and therefore I feel insecure. Let me extend my ID towards all and serve them. So that is Karma Yoga. So now that Karma Yoga, Krishna is going to tell Arjuna, it's glorious. Don't have to leave it and run off from the battlefield. Have the right attitude and work. Here in the battle, you work for your individuality, ego, therefore you saw everything death. When you work for the cause of dharma, when you work for the cause of cleanliness of the society, the war will not cover you down and you don't see either death. And that is called Karma Yoga. Now let us see how Krishna sells his product. Neha Vikramana Shosti 40. Pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya rayate mahato bhayat. This Karma Yoga I am teaching you, Arjuna, in this, like the rituals, there is no question of loss of effort. What is loss of effort? Abhikramanasha. We went to do Navagraha Homa for 9 days at one place. 5th day, the Purohit was got heart attack in the bathroom. He never came back. We had to abandon that. So 5 days of our work, preparation for that so much, is all loss of effort. That is there in the rituals. Your loss of effort. In agriculture also. You sow. It doesn't rain. Loss of effort. You sow, it rains, but pests. Contrary results. If you do not take reactionary test and give an injection, the man can die out of reaction. That's called pratyavaya dosha. So in all karmas, especially in the olden ritualistic karmas, there are two problems. One is loss of effort, another is pratyavaya dosha. You chant a mantra wrongly, you will have a different effect. So Krishna here says, my Karma Yoga, you don't have both these problems. Why? There is no loss of effort here because it's only asking you to have the right attitude to cleanse the thing. So to that extent, whatever you work, your vasanas will come out. There's no loss of effort. Since you are not expecting any results, doing something little wrong this way, that way also, you won't get contrary results, pratyavaya. So these two are not there in Karma Yoga. So he says, na abhikramanashaha asti, na pratyavayaha. These are the two defects. He says, in my Karma Yoga, these two defects are not there. And there further, vyavasayatmika buddhihi yekeha kuru nandana bahusha kahyanantascha buddhayo avyavasayinam. When you work for a cause, your mind is focused. Your mind is focused. When you have no particular cause, a goal, especially a goal which is selfless, egoistic, the mind goes on running from this to that, that to that, that to that, and never achieves anything. It dissipates. So here Krishna says, in my Karma Yoga, because it is dedicated activity, your mind is single pointed, and through karma, you purify the mind. If you don't dynamically work, and that too selflessly, the mind gets dissipated. And then he is ridiculing the rituals in respect to his own Karma Yoga. He is comparing and ridicules the rituals. That's how the TV shows used to show in those days. Used to show two different powders and say that has this defect, we don't have that defect. Same thing Krishna is telling here. Yamimam pushpitam vacham ravadanti avipaschitaha vedavadarata partha nanyadasti vadinaha. These pandits, these people who believe in ritual, they indulge extensively in the words of the Vedas. Vedas means ritualistic portion. Ritualistic portion. They try to quote extensively to suit their purpose. Veda vada rata partha. And they say, Nanyadasti iti vadinaha. They say, there is nothing beyond this. This is the highest. Do this, all your problems are solved. You go to heaven. There is nothing beyond this. Veda vada rata partha nanyadasti iti vadinaha yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipas. They talk this in flowery language. Pushpitam vacham. Flowery language. And who are the people talk? Self-assumed wise people, but unwise people. Pravadanti. They go on blabbering. Avipastita, unintelligent people. And then when you work for the ego, or even the rituals for aggrandizement and getting swarga, etc., getting subtler joys, what happens? Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam tayapahruta chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadho na vidiyate. People who are obsessed with sense gratification and therefore not finding enough with what they have, they're always running after different experiences. Again, that's also they are not happy. They want swarga, etc. So therefore, bhoga aishwarya prasaktanam, people who cling to the joys of the material world and lordship over that. They want this, they want that, continuously running after. Such people, there will never be a full stop because they are searching in the finite world. Finite world, you will never be happy, whatever you get. So you will be running from pillar to post. In that very running, you exhaust yourself, you get exhausted, you get fatigued, and you will not find any peace. Bhoga Aishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Apurata Chetasam, their discriminative power is being drifted away. And such people not being to be single pointed, vyavasayatmika buddhi, samadhau na vidiyate. They never find peace. They never get fixed in a particular state of peaceful mind. That's called samadhi. And he concludes now his arguments against the ritualistic karma yoga. Traigunya Vishaya Yoga Nistraigунयो Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastaha Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. The subject matter of ritualistic Vedas, when he refers here Veda, it is the ritualistic Vedas. Vedas are three portions: mantras, formulae; Brahmanas, rituals; Aranyakas, Upanishads, Upasana, etc. So he is talking about the ritualistic portion, Brahmanas. So he says, these rituals are all in the realm of comparison, qualities, good, bad, indifferent. Good, sattva; bad, tamas; indifferent, rajas; peace, sattva; restlessness, agitation, rajas; dullness, stupor, tamas. The whole outward life, other than the self, is bound by these three gunas. Guna itself in Sanskrit means, one meaning is quality, other meaning is rope. Why? Both bind. Qualities also bind, because if you are tall, you cannot be short. Sometimes to be short is advantageous. Sometimes to be tall is advantageous. You cannot have both at the same time. Therefore, one limits the other. Same thing, rope also binds. So, these Vedas, their subject matter is within this realm of three gunas: comparative, finite, limiting, adjuncts, three gunas, Traigunya Vishaya Veda. You want peace, you want freedom, you want completeness, you have to go above these three qualities. Is there something about the three qualities? Very common sense. If there are three things different, three different things, my three fingers, right? Now, they are three different. There has to be space in between. There has to be space supporting it. Space in between, space supporting it. So when there is a plurality, there is a common thing that supports it. So is space the ultimate? No, because when you are sleeping, you are not conscious of the space. Therefore, space also is a concept of the mind. Mind is in consciousness. Therefore, consciousness supports the space, which supports the plurality. And that consciousness is existence. And that is above the three gunas. Shift your attention from the three gunas to their base, their support, the existence, consciousness. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna, Nirdvandvo Nitya Tattvaste, going beyond the opposites, good, bad, etc., because they create to tension. How do I go? In the three gunas, hold on to Sattva Guna. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Now, I have dirt on my body. What is dirt? Mother Earth, you call when it is on the floor, on the earth, you call it Mother Earth. When it falls on your shirt, you call it dirt. Anything foreign is called dirt. Right? So all the three gunas are foreign to you, dirt. So foreign is dirt on you. You put soap, that's also foreign. So that's also dirt. So that dirt, the soap, mingles with this dirt and together leave you clean. When you have disease, some foreign element has gone into you. You take medicine, another foreign element, and that medicine gathers this other, original foreign element. Together they leave you pure. Likewise, Rajas and Tamas control it through Sattva. Tamas is body, Rajas is agitation. Through your intelligence, which is called Sattva, control, regulate the body and mind. It becomes a fit, integrated, peaceful equipment for contemplation. Therefore, go beyond this phenomena of duality of likes and dislikes, beyond the three gunas, but to start with, hold on to Sattva guna, that is, operate from the level of the intellect, operate from the level of judgment, intellect, not through body or emotions. Nistraya gunyo bhavarjuna, nirdvandvo nitya sattvastaha, niryoga kshema atmavan. What are the causes of your agitations? To gain always something what you don't have, to protect what you have gained. To gain what you don't have is called yoga. To protect what you have is called kshema. Our mind is all the time dissipated into these two pursuits, yoga and kshema. If the mind has to be peaceful, you have to detach from these two dissipations, yoga and kshema. How? How do I live? Where do I get my joy? Where do I get my inspiration? He says, Atmavan, turn the mind to the self. When you turn the mind to the self, it finds security, it finds peace, it finds bliss, and it is free from comparisons, duality, and happy. So rise above the subject matter of the Vedas, the rituals, which deal within the three gunas, and take to my karma yoga. That's what he says. And then he gives one more lovely example about the karma yoga. Yavan artha udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. In the villages where there were no pipelines, there were wells. Well water was useful. They used to cook and live and bathe in that. Well water was useful. But there was flood. 2 feet water going above the wells. Then what use is this well water? Because already it's flooded with 2 feet. You have to only take that water. Similarly, normal work or the work of the rituals, you need. They have a place. But a man who is basking in the glory of the self, who is basking in the glory of the self, is flooded with happiness. For him, the joy out of the normal work or ritualistic work is as good as the well water. So he doesn't need that. He doesn't need that. And you are going on talking. Is it possible to experience this? I gave you one clue earlier. See the thoughts, they are seen. See the world, they are seen. See the seer. That is one meditation. Now, is it possible to experience this fullness, which is like flood? Yes, every day you are experiencing in your sleep. In your sleep, the body, mind, intellect, you are not conscious. What is left there is that pure, blissful, conscious existence. But there, you also have gone behind that subconscious mind, therefore, you do not know that. To bring that state of mind, of sleep, into waking is called meditation. To bring that state of mind into waking is called meditation. How do you do? Detach from the body, detach from the mind, detach from the intellect, tune to the self, tune to the self. Then you will experience that self. So he has said that. Now he is giving gist of Karma Yoga in one more verse. I told you earlier that Karma Yoga is crystallized in 3 verses in Gita. Is there in lot of places, but mainly 3 verses. We did 138 of second chapter. Now we are going to do the second 147 of the second chapter. The third is in the 3rd chapter, 30th verse. Now let us see a very important verse. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetubhu ma te sangah tu akarmani. When you have taken up an undertaking, you thought well, you plan. Now, you planned your work. Now you are going to work out your plans. You planned your work. Now you are going to work your plans. Having planned earlier, now while you are at work, should not allow the mind to drift into the regrets of the past, anxieties of the future, the results, what will come, what will happen. You have planned work. Results will be according to that work. If you dissipate with past failures or future anxieties, your efficiency is lost. So while you are working, focus on the work, not on the results. Because you have no control over the results. You have control over what you do. So do your work properly, results will be according to the work. Of course, there will be variations. Why that variations, I will now tell you. In every action, there are 4 principles. The action in the basics of a thing is action, karma, right? Which is called yatnam, effort. That effort has to be in the right direction. That effort has to be in the right direction. So that's called prayatna. You want to catch a flight. You can't go to a railway station. You put effort, but that's not a right effort. So effort, right effort, yatna, prayatna. Now you got into the train. You are a close relative of the railway minister, or even the railway minister himself gets into the train. Now he says, I am the minister. I want to be in Delhi from Chennai in 8 hours. Not possible. You have to give the time required. Kala. You have put the seeds. Rain has come. It needs its time. Kala. Now you put seeds. Right effort also you have taken. And you are prepared to wait Kala. But whether the results will be as you expected or not depends upon the 4th factor over which you have no control. That's called adrusta, not seen. Pest can come. Sometimes the produce can be more than what you thought. Sometimes it can be less. Similarly, in all endeavors, it can be more or it can be less. That fourth factor is called adrustam, is called devam, beyond you. What will you do? What is beyond you? Devam, don't worry. Do the right action, prayatna, and give the right time, kala. Don't have to worry about the results because that's not in our control. So that's what it says. Karmaniyeva adhikaraha te ma phaleshu kadachana. You have no control over the results. If you are worrying about the results, your dissipation of your energy is 1/3 gone. Worrying about the past, 1/3 gone. And now worried in the future, other 1/3 gone. So your proficiency brings the least efficiency. So when you are focusing on the work, do not allow the mind to go into the past or the future. Right? So future here he said, Ma phaleshu kadachana, ma karma phala hetu bhu. Do not have a fixed goal. I should get this. And then you will be disappointed. Yesterday I read in WhatsApp a lovely message. A king who has lost everything, somebody offers him one village. He is very happy, extremely happy, because he got something now. And somebody who has got huge kingdom, but no challenges, no problems, he got everything, but still there is incompleteness in him. So it's not what you have gives you completeness or incompleteness. It's your mind. And therefore, your expectation. If you have a fixed goal, your mind is obsessed with that expectation. That takes up the efficiency. So, ma karma phala hetu bhu. When now this much is said, you have no control over the results. Do not work for a fixed goal. You may think, oh, it's all useless. I won't work. What has to come will come. Bhagavan says that's no solution. Mate sangaha tu akarmani. You cannot be attached to inertia. If you cannot progress through work, you cannot also progress through inertia. You have to work. While working, focus on the work. Detach from the results. That's all the Karma Yoga. And that he explains little more in the next verse, what I have already told you. Yogas takkuru karmani sangam tyakva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Staying in yoga, do your job. What is yoga? He explains. He concludes, Samatvam yoga uchyate. Equanimity of the mind is yoga. Equanimity of mind is yoga. How will you be equanimous? Going beyond the results. Siddhi, asiddhi. Success or failure. Go beyond both. Then you will be quiet and calm. When you will go beyond, when you do not depend on the results. Sangam tyaktva. Sangam is attachment. Attachment is dependence. When you detach from the results, sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Do your actions. Kuru karmani. That's called yoga. Karma yoga. Karma yoga is to work without being attached to the results and not worried about success or failure, because the work itself is important to purify you, to cleanse you, to evolve you. Results are not important. When a billionaire starts one venture after another venture, he is not disturbed when one particular day some crores have gone. He is not elated. One particular day he has earned a crores because he is so big. These things don't disturb. You also discover that dimension in you, the godliness in you, that divinity in you, that fullness in you, so that this success and failure should not disturb you. You work for the sake of work so that you bring out all the dirt in our mind. That's called yoga. That is known through the equanimity of your mind. Now, one more hint. Durena hyavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanaman vichcha krupana pala hetavaha. Durena hi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya. His particular karma yoga, he also calls it buddhi yoga because here it is the right attitude, right knowledge. With the knowledge, he is doing the actions. Attitude. So this is superior to the ritualistic karma. Therefore, he says, Durena hi avaram karma. Far fetched away from my karma yoga. Durena, avaram, not desirable. Durena hi avaram karma. Buddhi yoga dhananjaya. Therefore, buddhau sharanaman vichcha krupana palahet. Therefore, take your stance, take your refuge, take your support of the intellect, of the discrimination, control your actions, emotions through the intellect. That's called buddhi yoga. Control your emotions, control your actions through the discrimination. That's called buddhi yoga. Buddhau sharanam anvich. Krupanaha palahetavaha. Krupana has two meanings. Krupana is a miser. The results of a miser is misery. Results of a miser is misery because he has everything, but he can't enjoy. Here, you are God. You have God in you. You have fullness in you. You have happiness in you. You are all the time loitering outside. You are a miser, missing this. And therefore, you are miserable. Krupanaha palahetavaha. One who work for the result are krupanas. Are krupanas, misers. Buddhi yukto jahateha ubhe sukrita dushkrute tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karma kaushalam. Buddhi yuktaha, having tuned to this discrimination, to this wisdom, what I have taught you, to the knowledge of the self, jahati iha, cast off all your concerns about actions done well, actions not done well, good actions, evil actions. Do not identify with them. You don't need them for your fulfillment. You do them because the situation demands. You do them because the situation demands. That's called niyata karma, what is ordained to you. Right? Then why to work? Yogaya, working is not for the results. Yogaya, to integrate your mind and intellect. What do you mean by integrating the mind and intellect? Now, mind is pulling to pleasures. Intellect is pulling to self. Evolution. One side, sense gratification. Another side, evolution. So these two pulls do not give you peace. Bring the mind under the control of the intellect. That's called integration. That's called yoga. This is the purpose of actions. Yogaya, for that sake of yoga, you just strive. Why? Yogaha, that integration brings dexterity in action. Karmasu kaushalam. That yoga brings dexterity in action. Karmasu kaushalam. Kushalatvam. Kushalatvam, dexterity. Dexterity is not mere English translation. A pickpocket successfully picks the pocket without getting caught. You can't call it dexterous. A murder without proof, you can't call it dexterous. Kushala is holistic welfare. It's not merely sense gratification or emotional gratification. It caters to the welfare of your evolution, discovery of the self. That's called Kushala. In our olden days, when people used to write letters, now you write, how are you? How is our husband? How are children? How is profession? So many things. Our people will say in 2 words, Ubhaya Kushalo Pari. Having inquired, Ubhaya, both. Kushalaha, the welfare. Upari, let's proceed. Ubhaya Kushalo Pari, that's the beginning of the letter. So that Kushala is holistic welfare. It's not partial. So that is called yoga. Earlier he defined yoga as samatvam, equanimous. Here you are saying dexterity is yoga. When same word is used for two, samatvam and kushala, there should be some connection. Yes, only when you are equanimous, you can be dexterous. So therefore, they are not totally different. Only when you are equanimous, you can be dexterous. Yogata karmashudu kausadam. Karmajam buddhi yuktahi palam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantya Karma yoga is giving one after one touch. Karmajam buddhi yuktahi. Karmajam phalam. The results born out of action, taking recourse to the intellect discrimination. You abandon your attachment to the results. Why? Because you are a manishi, means a thinking one. A contemplative one is called a manishi. That man, because he is not dependent on the results, he brings out all the dirt from his mind, doesn't pick up new vasanas, therefore he releases the causes of binding to the external world and again taking birth. Therefore, karma bandha vinirmuktaha. He becomes freed from the results of actions, vasanas. Padam gacchanti anamayam. He reaches a state where it is free from all disease and defects, imperfections, beyond evil. He reaches a state when he cleanses his mind. He is already that. Every day in sleep he is that. But it this mind that covers it. Purify the mind, you discover the self. How do you purify the mind? Through yoga. What is yoga? One of the main things is to detach from the results. Sangha, attachment. Attachment is to depend on the result. Why attachment? I, this individual ego. I want that. Makes it together attachment. I plus I want, Gurudev's formula. It's called attachment. To go beyond this ego and egocentric desires is to detach from the results. Right? And now, okay. Is there a full stop for this action also, this type also? Because this also a means. Do I ever reach a goal? Will I ever find fulfillment? Or all the time do karma yoga? He says no. When do you reach that state? He gives 2 pointers to discover whether you have gone beyond this karma yoga also, become fit for contemplation, become a man of steady wisdom. He gives 2 pointers. Let us see what they are. Shruti pratipannate yada sthasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhi tada yogam avapsasi. When different conflicting statements do not confuse you, different conflicting statements do not confuse you. Your mind is equanimous, calm, quiet. You have gone beyond this dependence on the worldly life. You have now integrated your mind intellect fully well tuned to the self. Tuned to the self. Shruti Vipratipanna. Now somebody says, Bangalore is better than Chennai. You vacate Chennai, go to Bangalore. There they say, oh, now it is too crowded. Now it is too crowded, it is useless. Go to Goa. You go to Goa. And then they say, here all druggists and all that. And go to some other place. This is called conflicting views disturbing you. Somebody says, go to Ayodhya. Somebody says, go to Dwaraka. Conflicting views. Somebody says, vegetarian food, non-vegetarian food. Somebody says, this hotel, this film, that film, this knowledge, that knowledge, Dvaitam, Visishta, Dvaitam, Advaitam, Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Chinmaya Mission, Ramakrishna Mission. If you have no knowledge of it yourself, if your mind and intellect are not integrated, with every suggestion you get confused, running about. When your mind has come under the intellect, you no more have doubts about what is good, what is bad, what you need, what you don't need, and you are not perturbed. That is the state where you have fully integrated and achieved the results of this Karma Yoga. And then one more. Oh, there was one earlier, I missed it. Okay. Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam srotavyasya srutasya cha. What I've explained earlier, that same thing here. Yada te moha kalilam, when your delusory mind, buddhihi viditarishyati, through the intellect, it's conquered, it crosses. Yada te moha kalilam. Your intellect goes beyond delusion. Tada gantasi. What is delusion? To think the world has happiness. To think it's full, it's complete. To think you need it. These are all delusions. When your intellect has gone beyond these delusions, you have no more value for the worldly possessions or experiences. You have become indifferent to all that you hear. Srotavyasya, srutasya. Whatever you have heard or whatever you will hear about that being good, this being good, and being tossed from pillar to post. You go beyond that. And that situation is called a man of steady wisdom. Sthita prajna. Prajna, wisdom. Sthita, steady. So now Krishna is going to talk to us about that section, which is called Sthita Prajna section. After Arjuna's question, 18 verses, that is Sthita Prajna, man, talking about the man of wisdom and the means to reach that also. That also is taken care. So these 18 verses is supposed to be the summary of the entire teaching. And therefore, this portion is called important. Sthita Prajna portion. Gurudev says it beautifully. In painting, you can see 3 dimensions. In painting, you can see 2 dimensions, but you can see movement. You can feel horse as though running. But 3rd dimension you cannot see. Length, width you can see and feel the horse as though it's running. Movement. In sculpture, You can see three dimensions: leg, width, depth, but you cannot see movement. So Veda Vyasa brings a technique wherein you have the effect of both, that is, seeing three dimensions and movement. Right? This Sri Gurudev calls it word painting. It's a painting of words through which you see the three dimensions and also movement. This is so important. Gandhiji, in his prayer meetings every day, he used to chant this and 11th chapter some prayer verses. On the day he was shot also, he just was coming from the prayer hall. He must have chanted this, 18 verses. Right? Let us see. See why this is superior. In all various religious books, you will find many examples common. For example, tree. For example, chariot, horse. These are all very common examples in many religious books. But some of the examples given in this book, in this section, are not seen anywhere else. That's why it's also special. Now, Arjuna asks a question. Sthita pragnasya ka bhasha tamadhistasya keshava. Sthitadi kim prabhaseta, kim asita, kim brajeta, kim? He asks Krishna, you have explained to me the state of perfection, a man of steady wisdom. I would like to see such a man, because seeing is believing. Can I see him? How do I identify him? What is his definition? Ka bhasha, tita pragnasya ka bhasha. What is the definition? Kim asita? How does he sit? Kim brajeta? How does he walk? He also sits like that. He also walks like that. Then what is the meaning of that? Sit means when he is alone. What's his attitude, behavior, mind, what does it do? Kim brajeta, when he moves amongst others, what's his attitude? How does he keep the relationships? Right? So, sthita pragnasya ka bhasha samadhihi tasya kesha. What is his state of mind? That equanimous mind. Samadhihi tasya keshava sthitadi kim prabhasheta. The man whose mind is so quiet and calm, does he talk at all? If he talks, how does he talk? Kim asita? How does he sit? Kim brajeta? How does he move? Perhaps it looks stupid questions, but they're not stupid because they have significance. Kim asita means how does he conduct himself when he is alone? Kim brajeta? How does he interact with others? Kim prabhasheta? How does he respond? So therefore, they are not mere futile words. They have some symbolism. And Bhagavan starts answering. Sri Bhagavan uvacha prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmani eva atmana tushtaha tita pragnastadochyate prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. All the desires born out of his mental volition, thinking, completely casting off. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmane eva atmana tushtaha sthita pragnastadochyate. He is satisfied in himself by himself. That man is a man of steady wisdom. A normal modern university young boy will say, this is spirituality I don't want. Cast off all desires. What for to live? Only through desires I make myself happy. That's his argument. There is a great psychologist also in Western, I think his name is Freud, F-R-E-U-D, who believes that Through desires only you can evolve. So he asked this question. The answer is, when do you desire? Do you desire for a head on the shoulder? It's already there. You may desire for something in the head, that is different. What is there you don't desire. You only desire what you don't have. So when you are desiring, you are incomplete. Therefore you desire. When somebody doesn't have desires, means he found fulfillment. How? Incompleteness comes when you think you are the body. Means you are ignorant of the self. Avidya. Through avidya, ignorant of the self, you have desires, kama, therefore your karma. These three are called knots of the heart. Avidya, kama, karma. Ignorance, desires, actions. Avidya, kama, karma. Why? Because you do not know you are the self, you think you are the body, therefore you feel inadequate, therefore desires, therefore actions. When you say here, he is freed from desires, he has the knowledge that he is the self, therefore he is full and complete, therefore no desires. It's not a negative state. Rajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogat. Where does he get his happiness? Atmani eva atmanatus. His happiness comes from himself by himself. Atmani eva atmanatusta. In himself by himself. Sthita prajnastadoche. That man is called a sthita prajna. And now, that's a definition. He said, give me a definition, bhasha. Now, next is, he is going to tell us when unconducive things happen, what's his attitude? Dukkeshu anadvigna manaha, sukheshu vigataspruhaha, vita raga bhaya krodhaha, titadir muniruchyate. When sorrow comes, some calamity, some tragedy, a little he has to be moved as a human being. But he is not thrown off his feet. That's called anudvigna. Udvigna, a little move, you have to be moved. Anudvigna, continuously lost in that, is not permitted for a wise man. Dukkeshu, in calamities, in tragedies, in sorrows, he is not swept off from your feet. Sukheshu, something nice happens, he doesn't get attached to that because he knows both has to go. Both have to change. And both belong to the finite world. Sukheshu vigataspruha, he doesn't get attached to paltry joys. And then vita, raga, bhaya, krodha, free from attachment, fear and anger. Attachment comes out of desire. Desire comes out of ignorance. And when there is an obstacles for attachment, fear, bhaya. When there is a sense of insecurity, fear. And then when there is an obstruction, anger, krodha. So they are all byproducts of one ignorance. This man is enlightened. Therefore, no desire, no attachment, no fear, and no anger. Vita raga bhaya krodha stitadir munirichyate. His wisdom is steady because why? He has the knowledge and therefore he is called Muni. Muni means mananasilavan, contemplative one. He doesn't live by mere instincts. He discriminates, knows what is real, what is not real. Such a one is called Muni. And now, how does he move? This is when he is there on himself because he sits. That's what is sitting. Sorrow comes, joy comes. He is same. Now he has to move in the world. Sometimes conducive people, conducive experiences, sometimes non-conducive experiences. You are moving on a bazaar road. You will see several things not conducive to your temperament. You go to marriage, so all sorts of people talk all sorts of things. It's not conducive to you. How does he do? Yes sarvatra anabhisneha tat tat prapya shubhashubham nabhi nandati nadvesti tasya prajna pratisthita. When he encounters sukha and dukkha, sorry, shubha and ashubha. Earlier was sukha and dukkha. Here shubha and ashubha. Shubha, propitious. Ashubha, not so propitious. When they happen, yes, sarvatra anabhisneha tat tat prapya shubha shubham. He is not attached to them. While he is moving, while he is working, while he is transacting, he encounters both good, bad, and propitious, not propitious. He is not elated when he gets something conducive. He is not depressed when something is the opposite of it. And such a man's wisdom is steady. And now, this is one more. I told you, this chapter is known for its lovely examples. So he said, what is his state of mind when he is alone? He said dukkha and sukha. When he is moving, shubha, ashubha. Now he is moving. When dangers come, how does he protect himself? A lovely example. Kurma, tortoise. Tortoise can move in water, can move in land also. This wise man can be alone, also can be in the crowd. What happens when he is moving in the crowd? What happens when a tortoise moves on the land and children are throwing pebbles? Children. The tortoise withdraws all its limbs unto the shell. And the children's pebbles fall, they are not hurt. So it withdraws all the limbs under the protection of the cell. Similarly, when this man is moving, and his antenna, the five senses, are receiving stimuli from the outside world, when he sees non-conducive, he withdraws them all from those perceptions, focuses to the self, which is called the shell of the tortoise. Yada kurbongani vasarvashaha indriyani indriyathebhyaha tasya prajna pratisthita. Yada samharate chabayam kurmongani sarvashaha. Yada, when samharate, completely withdraws. All its limbs, angani, like the kurma tortoise, sarvashaha from all directions, indriyani, senses, indriyarthebhyaha from the sense objects. When he withdraws his mind from the sense objects, his wisdom is steady. He is protected like the shell of the tortoise. Tasya prajna pratisthita. So we see next class. Next class, we will complete this and take the third chapter. So you must have two books together next class. Next class, you must have both books, second chapter and third chapter. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamadam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Thank you. God bless you all.
Master.